All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome aboard to our weekly recap and preview of the new week. My name is Carlos Garcia. I'm the founder and CEO of Gar Capital. Glad to be with you this evening talking about the markets. We got a short week this week. We got Thanksgiving coming up. So I got a watch list ready for you guys. A couple of names that are reporting this week. We got some earnings. We're going to talk about the futures market rather quickly since we are pushing this evening in terms of the stocks and we're going to go and recap what we just had this past week. So, thank you for being with me this evening. Let's go ahead and begin. All right, back to it. You can see the Dow is up about 238 points, while the S&P 500 is up about 0.46%. The Russell's up 1%. I went ahead and posted a futures video for our futures members. We went long on gold, but we actually pulled back. Didn't even get close to my stop, but just wanted to make sure, that we trying to kind of stayed above 2,700 or so. I didn't want that to go against us rather quickly. And the reason I wanted to get out of that gold trade for the most part was the fact that we're starting to see some risk on here, meaning you're not going to go to the safe assets when you have 1% up on the Russell, half a percent up on the NASDAQ. So let's take a look at the NASDAQ rather quickly. I had a member ask me about going long here. And the one thing I said was, where are you going to put your stop? So I placed an alert at 21,000 pretty much at one point. If we get above there, then yes, I do expect a continuation higher to 21,002. So that gives us about 200 points to kind of use. We'll use the stop, if anything, as kind of our viewpoint for support. Really, the level I was looking for the break was 20,902. We can kind of use that slightly a little bit as a stop. Seems pretty wide, but we can always slide it as we go. But 21,000 is what I expect possibly maybe as we get into the London hour. Now, the only thing my concern is that the London session has been selling this action, this bullish price action from Asia. So I don't want that to happen again. These kind of gaps do scare me because I don't want to go long and then we start heading back to fill these gaps. So step at a time, we'll get there. But I do have a bullish bias. I mean, Thanksgiving rally seems to be in effect, in my opinion. So we'll see. In terms of the almanac this week, I talked about the almanac last week. If you guys remember the price action or the watch list that we had Walmart, Nvidia in terms of longs, and then we had Target. All we did was trade Walmart, and that thing hit as high as 400%. So well done. In terms of the almanac this week, I got Monday as a bullish day. Looks like we're kind of setting ourselves up for that, and Wednesday as a bullish day. In terms of the scheduling, Thursday is Thanksgiving. Markets are closed. Futures are closed. Wednesday is a full day. There's not a half day or anything. But the volumes will dry up after 12 on Wednesday. So just keep that in mind. Friday, when the market is back open on Black Friday, the markets close at 1 p.m. So we need to keep that in our back pocket. Understand if anything that's expiring this week, we want to make sure that Friday we know that 1 p.m. is the cutoff time. So let's see what we get. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with this week's watch list. And this was on the free live market blog. For anyone who's on the blog, we do have paid services. Yes. Yes, we do have Black Friday sales and everything, but you don't have to pay to be on the server. We have a lot of free resources out there. I get a lot of questions regarding free trials. And honestly, you get a free trial pretty much every week because you get a watch list every week of stocks that we're looking at. I usually do three, but this time I went ahead and did five because all five of these names report on earnings. And I think that seems to be what works for everybody. Last week was stocks that had earnings. Again, Walmart, Nvidia, and Target. So let's go ahead and start with this week's watch list, and I'll show you exactly what I'm looking at. So Best Buy reports Tuesday in the morning. Below 85.14, we're targeting the 75 to 80 puts. Above 95 to 100, it's a neutral bias. So again, I'm leaning long. So again, above 95, we target 100. In terms of Dell, that reports Tuesday after the market close. Above 150, target 160 to 165 for calls. Watch the 200 DMA 133 level as support. I have a long bias there as well. Look at Macy's. That reports Tuesday in the morning, break below 1638. That's the 20-month moving average. We're looking for puts to 15. But if we break above 1666, the target is 17 to 18 in terms of calls. I have a short bias here. Zoom, that reports tomorrow in the afternoon. Breakout on the weekly above 90, target to 100. I have a long bias there, very similar to Square, if you guys remember. And Burlington Coat Factory. I love that store. Reports Tuesday in the morning before the bell. Above 290, the target is 300 to 305 level, which is the 3-year highs in the stock. I have a long bias there. Okay, so let's take a look at each chart together. All right, let's bring this up here. And we have Best Buy. All right, we'll go to the daily. And you can see it's between the tail between this two levels here. So above 94.80 or 95, I'm targeting 100. I'm leaning long, but again, rather neutral right in the middle. If we go ahead and break below 85.14, that's your 200 day. We actually have a gap here at 73.55. So I would be looking at puts around this area right here on Best Buy. So again, neutral leaning in terms of long, if I had to pick, that would be 94.80 because we're holding the 200 day. All right. Let's take a look at Dell. Dell broke below the 200. It bounced above it. It's been now in an upward channel, upward trajectory to say the least. We're breaking above 150. Like I stated, I put 150.20. We have a gap to fill at 164.47. So we'll take a look at the 165 calls. Again, I have a long bias here because we are above the 200 DMA as support, right around 133. That's the 20-day support. Excuse me. That's what I wrote down. So we'll kind of use this as our support, 133.53. I think Dell continues higher. I think Dell fills this gap. That's what I'm looking for. And again, if you want to follow along, it is on the Live Market blog. Take a look at Macy's downward trend line. Hasn't broken above it. That's above 19. So we need to get above 19 before we can even think about going long this name or playing calls at all. We have a gap to fill here at 1766, so there is some upside potential there, but we got to get above 1666 or so. That's the is that a moving average? No, just a breakout. That'll get you to 1766. So 17 to 18 calls. That would be the target. But I have a bias to the downside. If we break below 1638, was it 1638? 1638, there you go. Or is it 16? Was it the, make sure, 20-month moving average? I had the weekly. Here we go. See 1638? That's the 20-month moving average, and we're below it. We're about 3 cents below it. So again, I'm going to see if we kind of continue that downside move there. It's going to be hard to short this unless I see some volume out there. Let's see if anything does stand out on Macy's. But as of right now, that 20-month moving average is resistance at this moment. But if we break above it, definitely we could play that gap fill there. Because we haven't broken above that 20-month moving average, I still have a short bias on it. Let's take a look at Zoom. And Zoom is probably my favorite one out of all of these. And I think we're probably going to get a crack at it. Take a look at the weekly. Above 90.06, that would be a breakout. I'll take a look at 100. Very similar to a name I have been watching this past week intently, and that was Square. See that breakout? Similar thing, very similar to Zoom. Both kind of smaller cap, high beta names. And we're starting to see those names starting to pick up. This market rally starting to broaden out more than just Nvidia all the time or Microsoft or Apple. This is a good thing. We're seeing more participation in a little more riskier companies that as they get a little more liquidity, that's going to help their capital position, obviously, so they can borrow at cheaper rates. Again, cheaper rates is going to help small caps. So let's take a look at Burlington. Burlington Coat Factory, above 290.03. I'm taking a look at the 300 calls. That would probably be my second best setup there. I think Zoom, Dell, and Burlington are our best three. Best Buy kind of neutral there, and Macy's, I kind of lean low, but it's already down so much, it's going to be hard to kind of shorten the hole there. So I would say those three are my best setups for the week. In my opinion, that's what they look pretty set up. With that being said, let's take a look at last week. If I scroll up, let's see if I can pull this up. Where are you? That was the NVIDIA report. Snowflake. So let's look up 3 stocks. All right. Here we go. Here's the 3 stocks we're watching. This is last week. Walmart weekly chart is at 90.88. Watch the volume on the 90 calls. That was for last week. So this is from the 17th. Target downside Is it 137.26 for July earnings? And then the retest and bounce, we'll take a look at it currently, okay? So let's see how we did on the last three. Walmart, 90.58, with the 90 calls, as you could see, and we actually sent that out. We're under 15% on Walmart, 90 calls. Lovely. I like when a plan comes together. Target, we didn't trade that. So Target downside trend line on the daily to see how we ended up. Yep, that was down. Yeah, we didn't get a chance because it just completely sliced down in terms of the earnings report. But you could see I was expecting a pullback anyways. NVIDIA retest and bounce. NVIDIA tags 140, that's the May highs. Target 150 would be the all-time highs. Let's see NVIDIA, we ended up 141.95. And we tagged 15289. So kind of mixed. Depends on how you if you took it or not on that trade. But I wish I sent Nvidia. But we got Walmart. Walmart was a great one. So hey, these weekly um, watch lists, if they help you guys, that's kind of the reason we have it, and it's free for everybody. So no real need of a free trial when basically kind of giving you free stuff already. So you have a free trial every day. But again, we have paid services but the server is free for everybody. We have so many great tools for everybody. It's supposed to be a community, but with paid services, of course. One-on-one teaching, monthly, quarterly, yearly, lifetime signals. That's the deal. The saying goes, well, anyone can send a signal. Yeah, but we're walking with you step by step. What we're looking for, a watch list. It's the whole staff. It's not just me working here. And the whole staff is working to make sure that you understand why we get into something when we get out, and then we debrief afterwards. The information that you get, what you do with it, is really up to you. It's just tools. That's all it is. So we talked about the week that the stocks that we're watching for the week. Let's take a look at how the week went. 7 at 11 this week. Verizon we hit twice. Bitcoin we hit twice. BITO, Walmart 457%. Square took a minute. I'm going to do a market watch video for our members. We're going to kind of talk a little bit more about it. Verizon and Pfizer, what a comeback, right? The ones that didn't work out were TQs. That was a triple leverage QQQ and Microsoft, unfortunately. Microsoft was green at one point last week, but then reversed. Friday's flush killed us. Southwest Airlines chopped us, and Bank of America actually closed in the money, 47, but just literally at the worst possible time, the last possible day. Watch Bank of America soar tomorrow. That's kind of the deal. It hasn't been the easiest one to trade, but a solid week all around. Again, I will talk about it a little more in terms of the Market Watch channel. That's for our paid members. So let's take one more look at futures. Yeah, good thing we got out of gold. That's pulling back. So it does look like we're expecting a push higher in Nasdaq. We're pushing higher in terms of the S&P. In terms of a signal right now, the only issue is where we're going to put our stop. If we put our stop at the gap fill, we better hope for a really, really big push. So I'm kind of hoping that we do kind of fill these gaps first, these price gaps that we had this evening, and then we can go ahead and see if the bulls defend there, and we'll continue higher. So step at a time, we'll see what we get. We do have some risk open in terms of options. I'll talk about that on Market Watch. Solid week all around. But again, this week's watch list should be a good one. So again, if you guys want to take a look at that, check it out. In terms of the week, again, it's a short week. Let me see if I can bring this up again. And we're going to go and bring up the earnings calendar. Economic data, don't expect much other than GDP numbers on Wednesday, Thursday, Thanksgiving, and FOMC meeting minutes Wednesday at 2. Not exactly anything to be too excited about. And we already talked about some of the earnings like Zoom, Best Buy, Macy's, Dell, and I think Burlington. Those are the 5 that we did. But yeah, no Fed speakers this week. So that's a good sign. We do have Black Friday deals. Marketing would get on my behind if I didn't talk about it. Here it is. This is, let me see, Black Friday sale. Promo code 1500 off. I am teaching as well. As you know, since Nick Blagzovinci passed away, I had to step up as a teacher. So at this moment, just temporarily, I will be teaching our new masterclass members. Glad to teach you. Glad to have you on board if you do sign up. And we'll go from there, step by step. It should be very fun. It's 5 classes one-on-one. it's really just the focus and the time that we put into each of our students. That's kind of the important stuff. It's kind of like tuition to school. Again, if you're someone that needs that one-on-one help, this is something for you. If you're someone that's just like, listen, just give me the signals. It's all good. We have a deal on the signal packages too. It's on our website, www.gar.capital. Black Friday shopping here on Gar Capital. Let's see what we get in terms of this week. Should be a fun one, but again, a short one. So step by step, we'll get there. And again, a really good sign to me is that there's no Fed speakers. That's really good. Usually do pretty well with that. So let's see what we get. Have a great rest of your evening. Options members, your video is coming out here soon. Futures members, your video is already out. I will catch you guys tomorrow for the morning note. Cheers all.